Yo, what is going on, guys? Hess here, CollectiveKicks.com. If you guys want to shop this week's top sneaker deals, check the link in the description, and happy shopping. For this video, I just wanted to give you guys a side-by-side observation of these two shoes and give you guys my feedback of what I like so far about the 2019 versus the traditional UltraBoost. But just know that this is not a performance comparison between the two shoes. Obviously, the regular UltraBoost has had a cult following for like 5 or 6 years now, and I think it's fair to make note that a lot of people say that this is the most comfortable pair of sneakers that they've ever tried on their feet. So when Adidas decided to release this 2019 model, I think a lot of people were really skeptical of how comfortable this shoe is in comparison to the original one, and is it worth buying? So hopefully I'll be able to address that in this video and give you guys just my personal thoughts on the new model in comparison to the previous one. But again, casual perspective. Also, before I get started in the video, I wanted to give you guys a heads up that I did do a Yeezy dip dye of the Salt colorway, as you could see right here. So this is the final results from that video. If you guys want to go check out that video, just go ahead and pop on over to my channel, click my name below, and maybe subscribe if you guys are new to my channel. I do a bunch of just random sneaker videos like this. I think these ones look pretty cool, purple instead of just the Salt color, but I know these are not for everybody. Anyway, now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and start comparing. So normally I start the reviews in the front of the shoe, but let's go ahead and actually start with the heel cup, because this is one of the most talked about changes. So you can see the original heel cup is a hard plastic, and it wraps around to the other side with just a little teeny notch on the bottom here, and then it has the branding UltraBoost on one of the cups. The 2019 version though changes it completely. You can see there's actually a knit underneath here because they just did a double overlay over top of the knit and the boost. Even as you can see from the original, there's definitely a separation between the boost and the cup, but they married the two together on the 2019 version and they added it over top of the boost and over top of the knit, but it does wrap around in the same fashion around the back. However, this time the branding for UltraBoost is done in a minimalistic way at the bottom of the cup. A lot of people love to hate this design, but I personally just really like it. I think it looks like a licorice piping. It just has a real clean sort of look and very minimalistic, yet it has a lot of pop because of the color blocking that they chose. So I really like it. As for fit and how it works versus the original UltraBoost, I actually really think that this was a great adjustment. It's smaller, so it probably weighs a little bit less. It's also vibrant and eye-catching, but it still provides a lot of stability similar to the OG because it's lower cut and it's also in the middle of the boost. I think that just adds to the stability when you put it on your feet. So let's go ahead and transition from the heel up to the cage. And I think that this is part of the shoe that most people just really don't like. It's not as sleek and like aerodynamic, I guess, as the previous one on the UltraBoost OG. I think that a lot of people really like this three-stripe branding. It's simple, it's meaningful, at the same time it has aesthetic value versus this chunky and funky, like weird thing that they did. And also in the review, I already mentioned this, but this is not like a breathable material. And to compare, this is like Nike's material that's see-through, but it's extremely breathable. So there's no added benefit of breathability to it. It's just kind of a really big and intrusive look to the shoe. And I also mentioned it reminds you of the UltraBoost ST with the cage here, and it's almost the same shape as that. I don't know, maybe it just adds to the stability and maybe it's better for running, but the aesthetic of the shoe definitely takes a hit because of the addition of this cage, in my opinion. So let's work our way from here to the tongue. This is the other big major aesthetic change to the shoe that I'm not really feeling. It sort of looks the same, like the overall shape of the tongues. You'll see the tongue has the Adidas running logo on it, and the UltraBoost 2019 almost has like a t-shirt tag on it, which is very interesting. And then you have kind of a 3M hit on the UltraBoost regular one here. The reality is this one has the extra padding on it, and it definitely sticks outwards a little bit more, and it's just more suitable for like jeans and joggers and stuff like that. But this one, it really fits to your foot more and almost has like a UltraBoost uncaged fit because this really rests right next to your foot. So you don't really get the aesthetic of a tongue on this shoe, which is something that I believe is really missing. I think that we need that just for the visual from the casual perspective. Maybe from the runner's perspective, this is much better, but it just does not look as good on feet as the original UltraBoost. It sort of has the same sort of feel. If you guys have tried the NMD, it has the same sort of feel as this because it really rests on your foot at the top part of the shoe. It's obviously a little bit different looking, but it does have the same sort of fit. And this is the Primeknit version for those wondering. It definitely feels like they could have done something more with the tongue, but instead they kind of went in a different direction than what I would have done and made it more minimalistic instead of adding the padding and the extra structure to the tongue. So the next big change of the shoes, you could see the Primeknit upper, which is called Primeknit 360. And you can see the stretch material on the UltraBoost is pretty stretchy. This feels almost like a double knit on the new UltraBoost 360. If I had to compare these to like toilet paper, this is like thinner ply, and this is like a triple quad ply or something like that. It's just really thick comparison to this, which also means it's a little bit less stretchy because of it. It's definitely not as stretchy to my feet or to my fingers, as you can see as I'm touching the materials. But the knit is really good and it feels really nice on feet. It is a little bit more snug though than on the regular UltraBoost, and part of that could be because I got a size 9 here and a size 9.5 here. I didn't really have a choice though for these. They didn't offer half sizes as of right now. At least when they released, I didn't see any half sizes listed. So I had to go with a 9 instead of a 10, which I still think was the right answer. But if I had the choice, I'd probably go true to size on the UltraBoost 19 instead. And then these, I go true to size, if not up half a size. Honestly, I could go down a half a size and then they still work. One thing you can do is just remove the insoles if you have a problem, if they're a little bit too small. I think that the knit on this feels okay. It's thicker. It's not as soft and it's not as stretchy, which is something that we're used to. Also, the knit pattern, which is something that plays really heavily into the product. So obviously we already know the UltraBoost 1.0 had a knit pattern like this. The 2.0 had a different look. 3.0 changed it up a bit more. And then the 4.0 is the one that we recently remembered because this is the last release that we've seen. So you can see there was a lineage of UltraBoost 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, and they changed it up and it kind of made it fresh and new. So throw all that down, start brand new with the UltraBoost 19. And this was the pattern that they gave us. And I think that this is probably one of the bigger turnoffs of the shoe as well. The pattern is not terrible, but it doesn't look amazing because of the block-like look. And then you do have also in this one reinforcement across that has a kind of reddish pink look, as well as another one that's underneath here in the reddish pink. The UltraBoost 2019 has 3 different kind of zones of Primeknit, in my opinion. On this colorway specifically, you have a thicker Primeknit in black that goes around the shoe here. This is like definitely super thick comparison to this. This is a little bit less firm of a Primeknit in the middle section. It's a little bit more flexible, but still not as flexible as what we're used to in this section. And then for the tongue, it's really, really stretchy for the tongue. So softest, I guess, versus the UltraBoost is all one Primeknit upper here. The tongue and the collar were mesh on the original versions of the UltraBoost, but as they transition to the 4.0, this is all Primeknit. It's all the same knit through the shoe, but there is more reinforcement in the section back here and here. It's just visually, you can't really tell the difference. So moving our way to the 2019 version, you can see the bottom actually is Primeknit all the way through the inside of the shoe. It has a liner down at the bottom, so it was kind of interesting that they ended up changing that up. On the original one, you can see there's just cutouts on the bottom though, so this was quite different. And as for the insoles, the branding is the same in the most recent pairs with the Boost. And then on the bottom is where they changed it up quite a bit. The 2019 one has a bunch of smaller squares and cutouts, and then the older one just looks like this for those wondering. So the contour of the new one is actually really nice and it feels good on feet, which is the first time I've actually said that. I don't usually prefer the insoles on UltraBoost. I usually wear them without the insoles. One major comfort change from the original to the newer version, as I already mentioned, is the collar of the shoe. The original had the neoprene liner all the way around. The 2019 only has that neoprene type liner on the back section. And then underneath the tongue is all the stretch knit material here. It doesn't have the neoprene, unfortunately, there. So let's go ahead and transition down to the Boost midsole, and you can see that visually the UltraBoost 19 is much, much larger than the regular UltraBoost. It's actually 20% larger, I believe, and it definitely is felt on the shoe when you put them on. I mean, look at the size of this stack. It's so massive in comparison to this one. But you can see it runs all the way down to the forefoot of the shoe, which is nice. The finish of the UltraBoost is definitely different. I don't know what they did. As I mentioned in the unboxing video of this shoe, the UltraBoost 19 has a bunch of different micro dots all over the shoe versus the regular one, which has almost like a different finish to the Boost. And this is like the newer retro version, so it's definitely a different manufacturing of Boost, which is interesting to think about because we thought all Boost was Boost, but maybe it's not all made equally, as we can tell. Back to the microdots on the UltraBoost 19. There is a huge similarity to the Speed Factory shoe. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's actually microdots on this one as well. So both of these have the same type of manufacturing with those little microdots all over. Well, it looks like it might be the exact same one recycled to the new model, but it's actually much bigger than on the AM4s. So those wondering, it is a little bit different. Much better on the UltraBoost 19 than the AM4. And that's actually kind of a good thing because these ones retail at $200 and these ones are going for $180. So more bang for the buck. But speaking about the AM4s, these UltraBoost 19 soles at top here are different than the AM4s. And there's actually lines through each one of these little hex pattern designs or whatever they are there. It also does appear the UltraBoost 19 is thicker down in this section right here than the AM4, so that's nice as well. And then you see the minimal traction all the way to the top of the AM4s. Meanwhile, the UltraBoost 19 has a Continental rubber stamp on it, which also is not on the AM4. So similarly different, but they actually are different. Also, they do have different torsion systems at the bottom. For those wondering, they are a little bit different. Definitely more cut out on the AM4s than on the 2019s. But here is a comparison between the UltraBoost outsole versus the 2019 at the bottom. They do look a little bit different. Also, obviously, the sole definitely resembles more of the AM4s than it does the regular UltraBoost. There is a torsion on the 2019 versus the torsion system on the regular UltraBoost. The torsion actually looks a little bit more hidden on here because this is a clear plastic versus this one has that gray plastic that you could see sort of wraps up and around here. And then the bottom down here actually wraps down and around. And that's what this little nib is on the side, is actually part of the torsion plate, which they went away with on the 2019 model. One other thing I wanted to mention about this shoe is the weight. They both are about 11.5 ounces, which is actually really heavy. And I'm surprised that for the newer version of the UltraBoost, they didn't consider weight as a factor, especially if it's a running shoe. Like, running shoes should be light in most people's opinions, so 11.5 ounces is nowhere near light. Nike has the Pegasus 35 Turbo. I think these ones are 8 ounces or so, but this is like so much lighter than this. So I just don't understand why, if you're going to update the model this much, I would think that you would try to cut weight if you can, which is what it appears to do by cutting this out and then making this like clear. They probably saved a lot of weight on both of these, but because the boost is probably a little bit heavy, it adds a 20% more weight to the midsole and takes it out from the other areas perhaps. But anyway, I thought that was a little bit interesting. So that's pretty much the head-to-toe look at both of these models and a comparison of the way that they're built. But how do they feel on feet though, and what is my preference? We automatically draw comparisons from the newest version to the previous version. But the problem is we've had these for 5 years. Most people, the UltraBoost was the very first pair of ADIDAS Boost shoes that they tried on. So if you think back to that first memory of you trying it on, and then you're trying to have that same sort of feeling when you put on the 2019 pair, it's not a fair comparison because you've already tried Boost for 5 years. It's not like you're trying Boost for the very first time all over again. It's just the newer model of that great sensation you're already used to. It's not a really fair comparison to compare the feeling of these to the nostalgia and the feeling of the very first Boost that you put on. But they are really comfortable shoes, and I highly recommend you just trying one of each of them on and then just really seeing how they feel, because I did that, and actually I was really more impressed with these after I tried on both on. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's more stability. It feels better on feet. It's a little bit more snug, which is not a personal preference of mine, but it just has a lot of competition against its previous self, since it's the new kid on the block. All in all, like, it's still a great shoe. I'd give it probably like an 8 out of 10. This shoe feels on feet like a combination between the good stability from the UltraBoost ST, the tongue and ankle fit of the ADIDAS NMD R1 Primeknit, and the outsole of the AM4, done in a really well thought out manner. So 2019 is going to be an interesting year for ADIDAS. Hopefully we'll see some really cool things happen with the UltraBoost 19. And that's my video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully it was somewhat informative, at least as a side-by-side. If you guys have other feedback and other things that you guys noticed or wanted to mention, leave a comment in the comment section so other people can see it. And thank you guys for stopping by and watching the video. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll catch you guys for some more videos very soon. Peace, guys.